Local talent, fantastic. But just like this lady that's coming up now, we're going to be talking business with the lady herself, Ilse Strauss. Thank you very much. Now, you're from TBMI. Tell us what that is.
Well, the Business Mastery Institute, the acronym for TBMI. So it's effectively a school for business owners that teaches them things like brand strategies down to marketing strategies and how to really establish a successful business.
Now, today we're going to be talking about brand consistency.
Yes.
Tell me what, I know what a brand is.
Yep.
That's what recognises our business. How do we get consistency? What's that all about?
Good question. Well, there's in terms of looking at brand consistency, I think the best way to describe it is by looking at the story of the franchising model. Franchising is a $1 trillion industry all over the globe, and the reason that makes it so, what makes it so powerful is the fact that they are consistent across every single element of their business. That includes their products, their pricing, their service style, their presentation of their products. All of those types of intricate details of their business, they are consistent across the board, which is why it's so powerful.
And why is it important for people to be consistent? Is that not so that we don't give the wrong message and trying to keep one solid message?
Yeah, that's right. And the reason for that is because your customers need familiarity. And in the space where there's unfamiliarity, people become unsure about what it is that you're trying to provide and who you are effectively. So a brand must stay consistent, not only so that their customers know who they are and what they can rely on your business for, but also so that your business effectively has a very solid foundation for being able to grow your profits and get really strong return on investments.
Now, does business consistency or brand consistency, does it matter if it's a big business or a small business, a sole trader, a partnership or large corporation?
Good question. The only difference between a small business and a big business is that a big business has probably been around a little bit longer and there's more dollars to show for it effectively. Okay. So the intricacies are a little bit just kind of change as it gets more scalable.
Because I'd give you an example of a great business model, and that's the Liberal Party of Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if we look back a few weeks ago, they won an election. Now, the message was clear. They stuck with their policy, their brand, and obviously the public were reassured that brand was consistent, and they obviously won the election.
Exactly.
Whereas Labor's brand kept changing, it kept getting damaged. You didn't know what they stood for, and I'm talking on behalf of the public here, the messages I got. The brand was a bit ruined, and so the public voted against that brand. So it does work. I mean, I'm using that as an example.
Exactly, and so the same is true for in a business. If you keep changing what your message is, and people are not sure about what it is that you're there for, it doesn't necessarily mean that the things that you're saying is inaccurate or it might not have value. It's purely from the fact of perception will determine the value that people place upon what you can provide and if they'll shop with you or not.
We look at a great brand like Coca-Cola. They've been the real thing for 100 years.
Exactly.
And they're still the real thing, and they still sell out every other brand.
There you go.
Let's have a look. You've got 5, we call it the top 5s.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the first one that we've got on screen. It is, of course...
market presence.
There it is on screen. What does that mean?
So market presence is particularly what we were just talking about then. You need to be very clear on what you're going to present yourself as to your marketplace. So don't keep chopping and changing what you do and what you say you are. Like I'll look at a lot of businesses and they'll keep changing the logos or the message on their websites and
confusing the market.
Really confusing the market, and it's absolutely damaging because if people don't understand, if people can't see you as one particular style and that they're getting one particular thing from you, then they get confused and they go elsewhere.
They look elsewhere.
Because you then become untrusted.
All right, what does service culture mean?
Service culture, this is the big one. But in essence, what it is understanding the processes that you use. So if we go back to looking at the franchising model, while there's pros and cons of it, one of the great things about the franchising model is that they're very clear about their brand message. And when you look at their service culture, particularly in a retail environment, their processes are created to be the same store in, store out. So you can always rely on the fact that you're going to experience the same type of service wherever you go.
And that's with chains like Myers or Coles or Woolworths. If you go to each store, should roughly 99% be the same sort of service culture.
Exactly. I mean, if you even go into, you've probably experienced it yourself, but when you go into a supermarket or a store and you stand there waiting, and you're waiting for someone to come and serve you, but yet you might go into that same franchise store down the road and yet they get onto you really fast. That's an example of looking at the behaviour that determines the service culture.
All right, moving on to the next one, performance management.
Performance management. Always manage on values. So values effectively are those things that are kind of hidden within your business, but it's the unwritten ground rules, so to speak, of what needs to happen. So if you particularly say that, you know, in terms of service culture, that serving your customers is the #1 priority, but yet when you've got customers, you've got someone there sweeping behind the counters or something like that.
Then you're going against what you stood up for.
Exactly. So business owners need to be sure about managing and giving feedback based on values, not so much particularly the skills, because that can always be taught. Values need to be embedded within everything you do within your business.
Fantastic. What about organisational structure?
Leading on from the values conversation. So when we look at the organisational culture, culture is effectively the habits, the beliefs and all the rituals that occur in your business. So as a business owner, you want to do what I call cultural mapping, which is basically just sitting outside your business and just watching to see the behaviours that your people are undertaking and making sure that the things that they're doing is reflective of the values that you say you need to have within your business. Yeah.
Fantastic. And final one, business planning.
Everything you do within your business in terms of strategy, new innovations, new products, new pricing, new alliances needs to be looked at through what I call the brand filter. So you have your brand mission, you have your brand message, you need to view everything and do everything in accordance with what you say your brand is.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for enlightening us on brand consistency. Now, just before we go, you've got a book out in October called Brain Culture EQ. Do you want to give that a quick wrap?
Yeah, so Brand Culture EQ is all about how to look at your business through a brand culture profile. So it's helping you understand the structures that needs to be in place within your business to ensure that you haven't just got your brand right, but the culture of your organisation supports the message that you're putting out to your brand so that you have a successful business that generates a profit that is sustainable and long-lasting.
Sounds like you're putting a personal touch on business.
Yes, I am.
Exactly. Thank you. I'm being a bit insightful here.
Oh, look at you.
If you want more information about Ilse J. Strauss, just the name says it all. Go to her website, ilsejstrauss.com, but you can also do tbmi.com.au and you'll find the details. But if you've missed all those, because we haven't been consistent there, thecouch.com.au, that's what we call brand consistency here. Check that out and you'll always have all the details up on our website as we do with all our guests. Yeah. Thank you very much for being on the show today, Ilse.
It's been a pleasure.
I'll catch up with you maybe in October, November.
Yes, absolutely.